Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Send me a kiss by wire. Baby, my heart's on fire. If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Cereal. Television. Medications. Everything at some point has had a mascot, and we've all been exposed to them whether we wanted to be or not. But some of these mascots don't stick around. Hello, I'm Penny. And this is Dead Mascots.
Just staring at the idiot box. Your love life is in a rut. You're sitting there on your nice sofa. Love can be hell, I know all too well. I'm wanted by every lass. Trust me when I say it's a pain in the as for the WB, just watch us and see we're better than any date. From now on Wednesdays, we'll all be great. Yeah.
Of the mascots I can clearly remember from my childhood, none hit so hard yet feel so foggy as the WB Frog, also known as Michigan J, created by Chuck Jones back in 1955. He first appeared in a cartoon titled One Froggy Evening, where he dons his classic top hat and cane, then belts out the tune Hello My Baby by Tin Pan Alley, written back in 1899. But his few appearances across the Looney Tunes landscape, iconic as they may have been, were nothing compared to what was to come.
Baby, tell me, have you heard about the stuff they got on WB? Cause everybody knows that WB's the place to go to entertain your family. Yeah. Harry Noodles playing, got the sisters and the ways on them.
The WB was a television network owned and operated by Warner Brothers, and if you needed somebody to actually explain that and couldn't insinuate it from the initials alone, then boy, we're in trouble. Ultimately, the WB was shut down, along with UPN, in preparation for the launch of yet another network, one you may know as the CW, except the CW isn't even known as the CW anymore. The interesting thing about these two networks is that they were, in essence, essentially the same. They shot for the same demographic, teenagers and young adults, though the WB had Saturday morning cartoons, and aside from the CW becoming nothing more in the long run than a home for superhero soap operas and somewhat supernatural teen dramas, they're almost identical. The most interesting thing about this entire ordeal is that most channels don't even have a mascot, or at least a mascot that's anything other than a logo, like the NBC Peacock or the CBS Eye. Most channels, in fact, don't really do any promotion outside of their own channel or some ads here and there. But the thing about launching something, be it a product or a television network, is you want people to take notice. And what better way to do that than with something they'll remember? Michigan J was already recognizable, certainly, especially for those of an older crowd, but for those of us who were children, unless we were especially cultured children like yours truly, this was our introduction to him, and to the WB. In the end, what better way to capture someone's attention than with a dancing ragtime singing frog? Michigan J is a fascinating mascot because he wasn't created for the WB, like some other creatures we know. No, he was simply handpicked for the job. And though he's no longer around, and the WB is no longer around, there are so many references to him specifically in other media. I'd be hard-pressed to find another singular example of a mascot that doesn't exist anymore that's this well remembered, outside of perhaps the Noid, but that's a different story for a different time. There's a big difference when something makes reference to something else that's still famous despite not being as culturally relevant anymore, like, say, a famous rock band or a really popular TV show. Those things last. They stick with us because they themselves are cultural touchstones, especially if it's something that was successful on a widely global scale and everyone partook in. But Michigan J, I don't know, guys. I mean, to me, this is one for the books of why is he so beloved, even today. For the 10 years that the WB dominated the airwaves, Michigan J was right there along with them, singing and dancing his way into our hearts. He also would usually appear before the opening of shows, informing the viewer of the rating for the program that they were about to watch. Then, in 2005, the WB announced some changes, and with them was the demise of Michigan J. On July 22, 2005, his death was announced by the WB chairman Garth Ansier at a fall season preview with the statement, "The frog is dead and buried." Apparently, the head of programming stated that Michigan was a symbol that perpetuated the young teen feel of the network, and that's not the kind of image they wanted to put to their audience. Immediately, satirical yet all too honest obituaries for the mascot were published with the details on his life and death, which ranged from December 31st, 1955 to July 22nd, 2005. B promos and bumpers, affiliate logos, and TV spots. Perhaps in a great final twist of comeuppance, almost a year later the WB ceased broadcasting altogether and signed off the air for the final time on September 17th, 2006. When this happened, a white silhouette of Michigan appeared at the end of a montage of stars that had appeared on the network during its 11-year history. When the montage ended with "Thank you," his silhouette is shown removing his top hat and bowing to the audience for 11 years, thus bringing the WB and himself to a final close. In a rather cruel twist of fate, one of the songs Michigan sang at one point was "Please Don't Talk About Me When I'm Gone" from 1930.
When I'm gone. Oh, honey, though our friendship ceases from on.
The WB actually did resurface back in 2008 and ran until 2013 as an internet-only streaming service. They were eventually, again, usurped by the CW streaming service, the Seed. One can only imagine that perhaps, just perhaps, if they'd had a tiny frog dancing and singing for them, they might have lived on. Michigan J's legacy is, as earlier stated, bizarre to say the least. A minor character created in 1955 who goes on in the 90s to mascot for an up-and-coming television network, and despite his tenure with the network only existing for a decade and his prior short-lived career, he's still somehow iconic. He's a hazy memory at best, sure, but he's remembered. Why? Who knows? Maybe simply for the absurdity of it all, or maybe, just maybe, somewhere deep down inside all of us is a singing, dancing frog dying to break free.
Gee, Daffy, I wonder who they're going to get to pull the switch. Why, me, indubitably, as I possess all of the talent around here.
What's up, frog?